Welcome in, everyone. Today, we're diving into something we all experience literally every single day, but probably never even notice. We're going to take an eye-opening journey into what I like to call the hidden architecture of retail manipulation. It's wild stuff. I mean, think about it. Why do you leave a market with a completely full cart when you literally only went in for a gallon of milk? It happens to all of us, right? You tell yourself, okay, this will just take 5 minutes, and suddenly you're at the checkout with 3 different random snacks, some discounted shampoo, and half a dozen things you absolutely never planned to buy. So is it just weak willpower? No way. The second you step foot into that store, you're actually entering a brilliantly designed invisible system. Take this number, for example, 35%. If a store simply moves a product up or down so it sits perfectly at your eye level, it spikes that product's sales and shopper attention by a massive 35%. It's crazy. The physical level of the shelf is this incredibly powerful force, just quietly managing your preferences without you ever realizing it. So let's look closer at eye level, which is basically a 35% sales secret. You see, supermarket shelves aren't just, simple pieces of metal where they stack boxes. They're actually vertical battlefields. Your attention and your wallet are being monetized down to the absolute millimeter here. What retailers call the buy level is set right at adult eye level. That's exactly where you're going to find the products with the highest profit margins. But drop down just a bit below that, right to the child's eye level, and boom, sugary cereals and toys with candy are placed perfectly right there. Why? Well, in the retail literature, they actually call this pester power. The goal is quite literally to break a parent's willpower. And those bottom shelves, they require physical effort to bend down, so they're mostly reserved for bulk or generic items, stuff you're going to buy anyway purely out of necessity.
Now, this brings us to System 1 thinking and neuromarketing.
So, why is this product placement so impossible to resist? Why can't we just stick to a logical budget when we shop? Well, it all comes down to Daniel Kahneman's famous two-system mind theory. Most of our daily decisions are made by System 1. It's fast, it's automatic, and it's almost entirely emotional. System 2, on the flip side, is slow, highly analytical, and it takes real effort. Retailers deliberately design their environments to completely bypass your budget-calculating System 2, launching a direct, emotional assault right on your impulsive System 1. And the real secret weapon here? Semantic markers. These are basically emotional tags. Brands use specific colors, music, and stories to create these tags in our brains. There's actually this famous blind taste test where subjects genuinely found Pepsi to be tastier. But the exact second they saw the Coca-Cola label, the brain's physical taste centers were literally overridden. Cultural emotions, like nostalgia, kicked in and completely overpowered their actual physical sense of taste. It's absolute proof of how branding literally hacks our biology.
And it isn't just individual products doing this. The entire retail environment is engineered using these exact same neuromarketing principles. Think about it. When you first walk into a grocery store, you're almost always greeted by fresh flowers and these brightly colored fruits, right? That instantly gives you a subconscious feeling of freshness and abundance. The overarching goal of the whole setup is to maximize your dwell time and keep you feeling happy and, as a result, totally ready to spend. This phenomenon is part of what's called the Gruen effect, which relies on building spatial labyrinths. If we step back and look at the macro level, the physical architecture of these stores has a super fascinating, kind of ironic history. Victor Gruen, who was actually a socialist architect, designed America's first enclosed shopping malls. His vision was to create places that fostered community and socialization. But retail capitalism took his whole idea and twisted it into these massive, disorienting consumption traps. Gruen was actually so disgusted by what happened that in 1978, he publicly disowned his own architectural creations, literally calling them bastard developments. Today, this Gruen effect is executed through really specific spatial traps. Like, have you ever noticed why milk, eggs, and meat are almost always hidden in the farthest back corners of the store? It's so that to get to those essential items, you are forced to walk past endless aisles of incredibly tempting, high-margin impulse buys. Some massive stores even use what's known as rotating treasure layouts. They constantly move the aisles around to force this feeling of new discovery. Ultimately, it traps you in a physical maze, leveraging the sunk cost fallacy of the walking you've already done just to keep you inside longer. Moving on, let's talk about the auditory manipulation of music. Because alongside the visual and spatial design, there's actually acoustic engineering happening too. Research shows that playing slow-tempo music, specifically under 72 beats per minute, physically slows down the walking speed of shoppers. They spend more time examining products.
Astonishingly, just by slowing down the musical tempo, retailers can increase their daily revenue by up to 38%. It's mind-blowing. And then there's this highly counterintuitive thing called the familiarity effect. You think hearing a song you know is good, right? Well, when a familiar pop hit plays, your brain focuses on the song. This actually increases your stress levels, making time feel like it's dragging, which makes you want to rush your shopping and just get out of there. But on the flip side, playing unfamiliar ambient or classical music acts almost like a time-warping anesthetic. You completely lose track of time, making you way more likely to just linger in those super expensive aisles. Now let's fast forward to today, shelf optimization with AI. In our modern era, that 35% eye level rule we talked about has evolved into an exact algorithmic science. 3 key metrics govern the modern grocery aisle: your eye level hit rate, your share of shelf, and your facings count. Today, premium brands are strictly enforcing these key performance indicators using computer vision and AI. They instantly analyze photos taken by store cameras or even by field workers to make absolutely sure their high-margin spots are perfectly maintained at all times. C-suite executives are now using crazy AI heat maps that overlay visual attention metrics directly with real-world, real-time sales data. This allows them to run rapid A/B tests on packaging and product placement right there in live stores. They can pinpoint exactly how moving a logo up just a few millimeters or tweaking a package color impacts profitability. They are literally turning tiny, almost invisible adjustments into massive revenue increases. And of course, this brings us to dark patterns in e-commerce. Because these physical labyrinths we just talked about, they are now flawlessly replicated right on our screens through something called dark patterns. This term was coined by Harry Brignall, and it describes deceptive digital interface designs that directly exploit our cognitive biases. Things like fake countdown timers, or those banners that scream, "only 2 left in stock." They trigger our deep evolutionary fear of scarcity. This fear of missing out completely paralyzes our analytical system 2 brain, pushing us right into panicked purchasing. Just consider this flawless sequence of digital manipulation you probably see every week. First, they anchor an artificially high compare at price, so you think it's worth more. Second, they induce loss aversion by presenting this massive, seemingly temporary discount. And third, the ultimate trap, the zero-friction, one-click checkout. These systems make the payment process so incredibly easy that they successfully bypass the anterior insula, which is the actual physical pain center in our brain. Without the friction of having to pull out cash, the literal pain of paying is just entirely eliminated. So, after exploring all these physical and digital architectures perfectly designed to control our behavior, I want to leave you with a powerful question. Will your next purchase actually be a choice of free will? Or is it just an algorithmic inevitability? Whether it's that tempting product right at eye level, the slow tempo music playing overhead, or that red countdown timer flashing on your phone screen, recognizing these invisible designs is the absolute first step to taking back control. Hopefully, this explainer gives you a completely new perspective on your very next shopping trip.